what Luke wants to do is to present a contrast between the world into which Jesus comes and all the messianic expectations and all that kind of stuff, on the one hand, and then there's the kingdom of God on the other. And what is distinctive about Jesus is the Great Inversion. You know the Great Inversion, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And on the other hand, you've got the contrast with Jesus, who comes bringing the kingdom. Now, let's just pause for a moment. What do we know about the purity system? It's not that morality and everything else is insignificant. But fundamentally, the world is divided into the cleans and the uncleans. God cannot stand unholy things. Now, let me just note, before I turn over the page, that by contrast, the kingdom that Jesus brings is the kingdom of grace. The kingdom of grace. Which runs roughshod over these kinds of distinctions of the purity system. Because compassion for Jesus is at the heart of God. And those words, compassion, mean literally suffering together. God suffers together with us. And the story of the cross, of course, is God suffering. For compassion means to be twisted up in your guts. It's a very, very strong word. Something, if I remember correctly, it's splangthnithe or something like that. It's almost onomatopoeic, you know, your guts are all twisted up in agony on behalf of the other person. In the Holy of Holies. So the Holy of Holies, that's where God is. It is the most holy place in all the world. It's the center of the universe. If the world belongs to God, why is God restricted to this tiny little room? The answer is because of human sinfulness and uncleanness. So, how do we break God out? We make the world a holy place. We do the law, and here's the Pharisees' genius, right? Let's all keep the law as though we were high priests, and then God can come up, and then God will be the God of the whole world. This world will become the kingdom of God. Don't read the law like your Luther. Yet for Jewish people, the law is a beautiful thing. Psalm 119. So that's the Pharisees' project. There's also a political dimension to this project. How was God to get rid of the Romans? Send them the Messiah. They had never actually been properly free as they were promised that they would be. And the answer that the rabbis gave, so it's really, really important that Israel keeps the law. And Jesus is a walking contamination zone. Now, what's the significance of this? The significance of this is, has Jesus come from God or not? Where does Jesus' power come from? There are two answers available to the people of Jesus' day. What are they? God or the devil. And most importantly, Jesus flouts the laws over issues about purity. And the way that Luke contrasts this system is that in this system, it's the purest and the most honourable who get the places of honour. It's the first shall be first, and the last shall be last. And in Jesus's kingdom, the last of it, it's a great inversion, isn't it? And what's the criterion that Jesus gives for the first and the last, for the great reversal? Have a look at Luke 9:48.
Welcomes me, welcomes the one who sent me. For the least among you all is the greatest.
Jesus welcomes people in God's name. The problem is, Jesus welcomes the wrong kind of people. What you don't do is you don't go and make mates of them. And Jesus' mates were the people that he ought not to have been mates with. Jesus used to go down and party in the brothels and in the pubs. Food and drink were really, really important to Jesus. You look at the sending out of the 70 and the sending out of the 12, and see how many verses Jesus devotes to making sure that there's adequate food and drink. Yeah? Why? Well, Jesus liked food and drink, but most importantly, Meal times were significant. And of all the things that Jesus did that really got up people's noses, the things that they disliked most were Jesus' practices of meals and table fellowship.